Today I'm going to share a component that I have just created, and I thought it would be better if I share the entire development process of that. So the idea is one of our customer or client was looking for to build a tab component, and the tab component they wanted to make it as dynamic as possible. Number two, they also wanted to use the edit frame that Sitecore JS did not have before. So very recently they introduced that. I guess 21.x has started getting this feature. So you can use the edit frame, but there is no, or the edit frame references are not that much outside. So we really don't know how to use edit frame. We all know that how to use edit frame in our MVC development flow, but in headless, it's always a confusing side, I thought. So I'm going to share that part as well. So let's see what actually I achieved. Then probably I'll share the entire flow. So in the right side, you can see there is a NG tab. So NG means next generation. So I'm gonna add this one here. I'm gonna drop it here, and then you would see it will ask for the data source. So I already have a data source. So I'll select that on. Then you can see here. Let me save this one, because Experience Editor sometimes fails to load component. Where is it? Oh, so it added here. I don't know why, but let me delete from here and let me add it there. So let me add back here. Hope this time it will add to the right place. Okay, some reason it is going there, but don't worry. I'll use there. But here you can see here, this is that this is the tab item, tab component. You can see here. So initially it doesn't have anything. It's just a empty. So now what you need to do is you need so it's an empty component. So component doesn't have any data. So let me first add the tab item, because that's where you need to define the component, or sorry, content. So here you can see there is a plus button icon, and I have added this edit frame. I will also show you how I did that. So here I will create, click the button, and then it will ask me which tab item. So this is the one I have. Basically the data source was set. So I'll say you can put any header that you want. So you can say maybe personal info, and press OK button. Then you would immediately see the personal info tab is created there. See here, and there are a couple of things worth noticing here, that it has, this is the component, tab item, and you can see here a tab panel. And I did not, so this personal info, this is basically the tab item. Let me go and check how many fields it has. So it has a header, it has a tab item image, a description, rich text, and CTA, things like that. So I haven't used those fields here. So if you want to use those fields, then obviously you can use them in this canvas. But I also have exposed this tab panel, a dynamic placeholder here as well, so that you can have added any other external component that you want in this particular panel. So that was basically the reason. But yeah, so this particular panel also has some internal data fields you could utilize, obviously. But interesting thing is here, see here, you can basically select that individual tab item, and you can basically delete this one, or you can basically go and edit any data if you want. Okay, let me go and create another tab item that will give more details of this. So let me go and let me put it like this, like details info, let's say. Yep. So now you'll see it will again load, and it will give you that details info as well. So we have the personal info, and then we have the details info. Now there are other thing. So in the Experience Editor mode, you won't be able to go to this tab, right? Because this button click event is disabled when the entire component loads inside the Experience Editor. This is how Experience Editor work. You can have a settings that you can enable, disable, this script. But yeah, if you disable this, this is by default disabled. If you enable this script here, button click, then the question might arise that how could you utilize this frame, because then once you click, then basically this details info tab item click event will fire and it will basically bypass your edit frame. So that's why I'm not going to enable the scripting. So I want to leave this one as it is. Now I need to go to the second tab to modify or add some data. How could we do that? So that I actually achieved through this extra field here, selected index. So let's say I'm going to add a index of 1 here, and once you say 1, then basically internally what I have done is I'll share that code to you as well. It will basically go to this next basically tab, which is this personal info. You can see here it comes, and this tab also has a dynamic placeholder, and this one's set tab panel 2. So I've actually dynamically switched that different tab panel. All right, so you can see here I can move to here, I can go the other tab as well. So yeah, now let me add the component here, tab panel here. So here in the panel I can individually select. So I have basically limited my my renderings here in this placeholder. So I am using this tab panel component so that the only panel related component or rendering I can add it here, but it's really up to you how you're going to support your styling with the tab and things like that. All right, let me add it here. Then you can see here this one again individually you can edit everything, right? So every details is possible to edit here. Now I need to go back to the first one and I'm gonna put some other thing here. So let me save this one and let me go to the details info tab, which I'll go again through this tricky thing that we have introduced. I have introduced here. So let's go to the 0 tab index, and that will eventually switch the tab item to that particular tab. And here I'm going to add, let's say, another one, which is this tab panel 1, for example. Now I'm going to save this one, and I can now go to the preview mode of this. So let me go to the preview, and then you will be able to see this in action. So in the preview mode, what you can see here, you can see here basically a tab panel like this, which you can go back and forth, something like this. So this is really like a simple tab item with the tab component itself. So it's pretty interesting, right? Because that way your content author can build this component from the scratch, the item that they need, and all those different things that they need basically. Now in terms of this the limitation, I would say obviously one limitation is you cannot select individual tab panel in the expense editor, which is basically not our limitation. It's basically the way expense editor work, number one. Number two, I think, is this number of tab panel that you are going to support, which is also very important. So you cannot support infinite tab item here, because you cannot support it because the design will break. So that's why you need to take a decision how many tab item you are going to support. It can be 4, maximum 5, and based on that you need to create 4 or 5 dynamic placeholders, or you can say the placeholder, and you need to set up that placeholder in the site code, and accordingly based on the click of the tab you need to basically choose that particular placeholder in the coding side. All right, so this is basically the demo, and in terms of the implementation, I think the important thing I would say is this. So let me go and check this thingy. So here, for example, so first of all, this is very let me share the data model, because that will give some insight about this thingy. So let me go and check the data. So if you see here, I have this ng tab here, and this is basically my tab. So under the ng tab you can basically create as many tabs as you require, because this is basically my parent container of this particular template. So here in the tab here I have some field like title. I haven't used this one though, but if you need to in any of your design area, or if you based on your design, you can utilize that one. And once you click here, right click, then you can create this tab item. So what I'm doing at the runtime when I'm using edit frame, it basically calls this basically command, and once you click that, then it will basically create, and it has all those different fields. I haven't used any of this, but you could use it if you need to. Now in terms of implement, so this is basically my data model, pretty straightforward. In terms of my implementation, I have used, so this is my props, so let's collapse this one. So very importantly, I have used couple of button. So this one is the new tab item button, which is basically the edit frame button. So edit frame can support two types of button. One is your web edit button, and another one is field edit button. So web edit button will basically allow you to add or delete your parent item, child item, things like that. So this new tab item button, obviously when you will click, then this will allow this will pop basically a little pop-up kind of window where I'm going to tell that, hey, go navigate, and child means basically it will go and add a child item. And if you remember, the child item of my tab is basically tab item. So this is my parent item, and from here if I go to the child, it will basically telling that, hey, go and create a child item, which is basically tab item. And all those different parameters, they are all standard. Like if you go and check on edit frame in your core database, you will basically see this data. So I'm using that one basically. For delete, I'm also using the same web edit. See, they are all web edit. But for edit, I'm using basically the field editor button. So what it will allow you to expose those fields where you can say, hey, how many fields you are going to edit. So in the tab item, you saw that there are many fields, so I have actually enabled all those different fields so that this window can basically allow you to edit those different fields. So then what I have done here is basically nothing magic, right? This is all simple kind of styling that I needed to give you the look and feel of the tab. And here is the edit frame where I'm basically giving you that edit tab. So this is the field tab frame where I'm going to give you this. So in the button, I'm using two things. One is this edit, and another one is delete. So edit will open the edit tab, edit one, and delete will basically delete the tab item. And there is another edit frame that I am using for this plus button that you saw. When you click that, then basically it will create one tab item. So this is basically the one. And rest of the logic that you can see here, tab panel is nothing but giving you all the different placeholder based on the selected index and things like that. All right, and the other important thing is this static prop. So I needed to load the child item, parent item all together. So that's why I needed a custom GraphQL query to execute. And I thought the better approach for this is to use this get static props, use the get static component props that Sitecore supports, which basically execute in the build time and load this data and allow this data to be cached in the file system, sort of a static site generation approach, and give you the same sort of performance that normally you get. So the other approach could have been direct query, this query, not a static component props but direct query run, but that will obviously cost your execution. Like in the execution time it will call. So that's why I wanted to avoid that one. Yep, I guess that's all. If you have any other question, I thought I will share this one because it seems interesting, because especially this different frame, I haven't found any great article. I also have write one article for you guys, so I am going to share the article in the description as well, so that you have the reference of those code and things like that. In the article I have explained everything, so you guys go and check that one as well. All right then, bye bye, and I'll see you soon.